Alright. Sorry about that. I had to make sure my microphone was on. Hello, everybody. Hello. If you haven't been to my channel before, my name is Mike. I am an aspiring professional artist, and I like to do videos, specifically live streams, where I work on the fundamentals of art. I also will do character concepts as well. I like to do both. Today's video will just be me doing like basically a warm-up before I get started on a character design, or finishing up on a character design actually. I'm sorry that for those of you who are people who consistently come, sorry that I didn't stream last week. I decided to not do it just because it was my birthday week, and I had a lot of work I had to do for my actual job, so I just didn't really have too much time during the week. I mean, I didn't want to feel like consistently rushed. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. Throughout the whole week. So, yep. Sorry, this is going to be a little sloppy since I know it doesn't seem like just taking a week off would make you sloppy and doing something that you consistently do, but it does. During this stream, for those of you who have not been here before, any questions that you might have, please feel free to ask them. That's why I do these. I like to, connect with all of you, and things of that nature. I'm also probably going to have a little bit of story time at the end of this stream, because I went to KatsuCon, which is a anime convention in the National Harbor near DC. That's what I did for my birthday, which was a lot of fun. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it. So, we'll do that as well. Let's see here. Perfect. I'm gonna give myself 2 minutes instead of 2.5 minutes for each gesture today. And I believe I can get the references up here for you. 1 second. Oh, also, sorry, I'm sure that you all are commenting away. I forgot to put the comments up. I told you it's gonna be a wild stream today, with me trying to get used to just doing stuff again. Yeah, what's up, Peter? Sorry, I'm getting to that a little late, probably. I appreciate it. Alright. I think that we're ready pretty much. Let me just get the references up. Perfect. And yeah, we can get ready to get started here. Let me just get the canvas situated. So I'm just gonna draw right on top of the canvas I already had. No reason not to. This is from a while ago though. Let me see if there's one that's a little bit more recent. This is from the 31st of last month. There's no way I don't have one that's more recent than that. Oh. Maybe I don't. That's crazy. Well, I guess I will start a new one then. That's wild. I wonder if I must have saved just on top of this one last time. Okay. Just get it up to 100. So one thing that I found out with my tablet is that I wasn't actually using it to its full potential, which was funny to discover. The reason why I'm saying that is because I accidentally, where is the cube brush? I just kind of discovered the other day that I wasn't using 4K on the screen, so I wasn't like actually using this to its full potential the whole time. It's crazy. I will say that doesn't change my opinion about it. I'll do a review of this this tablet soon, but I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty disappointed. Hey Armor, how's it going? I'm pretty disappointed in this tablet. I mean, it operates fine, but for the price point, it needs to be better. Hope that y'all are doing well. Hope that everybody's been taking care of themselves. It has been a little bit since I've done gestures, so it's actually going to be take a little bit of time for me to get warmed up with it again. One thing that people do ask that's a really great question is, am I trying to do the reference as like exactly? And the answer to that question is no, I'm not. A lot of the times, like this gesture, for instance, I exaggerate quite a bit of it. So yeah, I'm doing well. I appreciate you asking. And for this one's way too big though, so I am gonna change that before we move on to this one that's on the screen. Perfect. I just got through watching they did like a live reveal of the DLC that's coming out in June for Elden Ring. That was really crazy to look at. And my weekend was phenomenal. Yep. Today is it's been a sloppy day so far. Which is pretty sad, considering it was only a week. But it's just like it's just the small things, right? Like once I get warmed up, the drawings will be fine, but the small stuff of like making sure the stream is actually ready before I click the button to like start, just goofy stuff like that. Also, make sure y'all tell me like what other things you would like to see on streams, because I noticed what happened with my current streams. Yo, what's up, Coop? Is that I changed the title and I got a ton of views for like about a week, and then after that, or not a week, probably like 2 or 3 weeks, and then after that they slowly start to trail down. So I'm sure that like just me doing the same things over and over again can be a little bit stagnant. So um, make sure to tell me like what things would you like to see on a stream. Um, oh, all right, Coop. I appreciate you hopping in for a second. I hope you have a good day at school, my man. For this one's a bit big again, so we will scale that back down a little. And then I can add collarbone, collarbone. Actually, this one goes even further back. Just some ideas and tips and things for your gestures. Don't worry too much, especially when you're first starting out, about like, and I know this is gonna sound a little funny, but about like proportions and things like that at the very beginning. Just worry about the flow. You just want to be able to look at whatever you've drawn and say like, oh yeah, that does look pretty close to the pose that I was trying for, that I was using a reference for. And that's another thing, is just make sure you're consistently using references when you're doing gesture drawing. I know that sounds, again, a little silly because it's like, how do you do gesture drawing without reference? But this is a opportunity for you to learn and grow with how you draw fluid characters. And trust me, like, one thing I've learned is if you don't allow yourself to learn and grow as you're drawing in your gestures, when you go to draw your own characters, those characters will still end up looking stiff. This is a very big, probably a 50. Those characters will definitely look stiff because you're trying hard to make something look good. And when you're, my timing has been off with these. And when you're trying hard to make something look good, the harder you're trying, the more stiff it gets. And you wanna make sure that you're doing very quick gestures, while also making sure you're using reference and things of that nature. Being able to draw characters without reference will come with time, specifically as you use more references, right? Because the more references you use and the more often you do those specific references over and over again, the more you'll start to retain. And you'll be able to start to like piecemeal like references together in your imagination, in your mind. And again, this stuff takes a lot of time, but after a while, it just kind of becomes a bit of second nature. And with that comes, I kind of remind people of this almost every time I'm doing gestures, but leg's a little thick. But you want to also have like a folder of references that you consistently use, and that will help you with memorizing your gestures. It's funny, it's only been a week or so and my gestures are definitely really sloppy. I need to get back to doing these warm-ups prior to drawing my characters again. Quick break. Are you running any projects, Mike? Yeah, I mean, right now, what I'm currently working on is I'm working on a like my portfolio just in general, but the portfolio itself is world building for the comic slash manga, whatever you want to call it, that I've been planning on doing for quite some time. My plan is this summer to I mean, it really, to be honest with you, it's going to depend on how many portfolio pieces I can create. If I can get like 20 to 30 done between now and like maybe August, my plan is to start applying. You have any tips for somebody who's just starting to learning to draw figure drawing? Yes, I do. What I'm going to do for you really fast is I'm going to pause this next gesture, and this is not a good example. Let me go to the next one. This is also not really a good example. Alright, this is a good one. So what I would recommend you do is one-shot comic pages. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's something, I will say, Peter, that's something I will probably have to do like a little further down the line. Maybe once I'm finished with my world building. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I have a lot to still add to it and stuff. So I'm going to show you how I would do the like a very simplistic gesture for this character just to start. And then I'm going to give you one more hint as to how to help yourself with this kind of stuff. Not specific to your world. Yes, but I will say it's actually, I would say it's harder to do something based off of nothing. Like, it's harder to create a comic page based off of almost nothing and just like piecemealing stuff together, because then you have to create a character, or even if it's another character, right? Like, suppose I'm going to do a fan fiction one shot of Demon Slayer. Like, I would have to go in and like find all of the, yeah, even Elden Ring. Elden Ring would be hard too, because there's so many detailed characters. Like, being able to like find all the references, put it all together, and then, I mean, maybe that's a stream, right? Like, that's a good idea, actually. Just how do you prepare for a one-shot, right? I have a video on that, but I could do that as a stream. Like, this is what I would do. Like, I would pull in all these resources, I would put them in folders, I would do these things. Good idea. Maybe I'll do that at some point. I like that. Not necessarily making the one-shot page, but like actually like preparing for it. That would actually be a really good stream, I think. So, sorry, going back to this example. So, I would recommend when you first start doing gestures and figure drawing, you start off just doing like 15 to 30 second gestures, and your main objective in doing this is just getting the flow of the character. This particular reference that's up right now has a pretty easy to follow flow, which is the curve of the spine, so that definitely, it's definitely like a really good gesture to work off of. So what I would do, 15 seconds, it'll give me some time because I'm trying to explain as well, but I would maybe just do a quick circle for the head, and then you get from the head down to the spine like this, so you get that like S curve. I would then put in shoulders, hips, and then probably I would do like little circles, leg. You might be able to get triangles or something in for the feet a little later, and then let's see here, arm, and that's probably all you would have time to do. And this is a little bit, I would say this is a bit wonky still. Something else that you could do, start with the head. Oops. So you do the line here, here. You could do this for that region. Trying to think here. I would still do these lines probably. I would say, like, to be honest with you, I guess the first one wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but you could also just one continuous line for these. And again, this is just to get the flow. And maybe I can do, let me look at the next one, and it might be a better example of flow. Yeah, this is a pretty good one. So, her flow in this, so you get like a head. And again, I would just draw like a quick circle or something. And you get the neck that flows into like, I wish I had this on the screen for you, but it flows like into her glute, and then it flows back down like this, and then you can quickly sketch in the arms. And what I liked to do when I was first learning gesture was I would come up, and then wherever the joint is, I would put like this. It's like a little stopper and then go. That was always helpful for me. And then again, right here. And this should take you between 15 and 30 seconds, I would say, for these kinds of gestures. And again, like this doesn't look like much, but this is super helpful, right? Because even here, like I would say I could improve on this. Like this could probably go out even more, and that's what I would highly recommend you do. Right? Like make sure you get that full flow into your drawing. All right? So that's where you would want to start with your gestures. Now, how do you then figure out how to draw a full figure? Well, you need to discover like a mannequin that works for you. So like if you've noticed, I have a mannequin. My mannequin is like this. So I have a head. I do it like a tube for the neck. Sometimes I will put in like a really rough collarbone. But most of the time I just go directly into this ovular shape for the rib cage. And I'll add that V in there. For the shoulders, I will start off with these two circles. And then, again, sometimes I'll put in clavicle, sometimes I won't. Just depends on how I'm feeling in that particular moment. For the abdominal region, I put a circle. And then I will put in a pelvic region, which I like to look at. I wish I had a nice little action figure here with me. But movable action figures, I think, actually have a pretty good like pelvic baseline. So like even if you look at the reference that I have up above, you can kind of see where her underwear are. That's pretty much the shape I try to replicate when I do the pelvic region. And then for legs and limbs, I do this like, it's like kind of cone shape that's like tapered. So it'll look something like this. On both sides. The knee, I start off with a circle, and I'll just keep it at a circle for now. And then again for the lower limb, I continue with this like, hey, got a sub? Who was that? Oh, I don't know where the thing went. Maybe it'll pop up on the screen later. But thank you for the sub. And welcome to the Manga Mike community. And then, yeah, lower legs, still this like conical shape that is tapered. And I just do like these like wedges for the foot. I'll do it from this view just so you can see it. But from this view, it would be, I guess, a 3D view. It would be something like like this. I need to work on feet a little bit more, so maybe at some point I'll do just like a video on feet. One thing with my characters, proportionally, I always make the legs slightly longer than I probably should. Like for instance, this character, from the top of the head to the bottom of the pelvic region, so from here to here, it's supposed to be the same exact. Typically mine hit about at the ankle, so the legs are about a half a head, maybe, or a third of a head longer than than they should be. You don't want to copy that if you're looking to do just very accurate characters. So just keep that in mind. The elbow, again, same shape for the arms here as the upper and lower legs. Now from this view, we would just be seeing the top of the cones. And again, same thing for the lower. And just like when I'm doing gestures and stuff, I kind of just do this like little paddle shape for the hands. So now you have a decent, oh sorry, I guess I can talk a little bit more about proportions, and then also why this is so important. So the arms, from the top of your shoulder to your elbow is going to hit about where your belly button is, or slightly lower depending on how long the character's arms are. And then the hand is going to hit just like, for instance, the halfway point of the thigh is about right there. The hand shouldn't go past that. And in fact, it should probably hit slightly higher than even what I have it. Typically your hands are long enough to cover like your crotch. Or sorry, your arm length is long enough for your hands to cover up your crotch. But that's, again, that can vary slightly. The reason why mannequins are so important is because now you can draw these shapes in 3D, in different angles and stuff like that, and it's not too difficult, right? So for instance, like, it becomes easier for me to draw. Let me see if any of these have been foreshortened. Not really. This one has been, but it's a little sloppy. We'll get to a foreshortened image in a minute, but it becomes easier for you to draw, for instance, a limb that's coming towards you, because you can just quickly sketch in the shapes that we just went over, right? So I can erase away and erase away a little bit here and here. So now we have a pretty consistent shape that's easy to draw coming towards us, and now we can build on top of that to create you know, the musculature and things like that. So that's one reason. The other reason is because now I can just build right on top of this mannequin and I don't have to worry. So I know that the sternocleidomastoids. How's it going? How's your comic coming along? I am working on the world building so that I can apply to other jobs. So, okay. I think I've actually been pretty productive on it. I haven't made any pages, or like thumbnailed, but I'm creating a bunch of characters. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for asking. And I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too. So yeah, for this character now, I can go ahead and add muscles. So sternocleidomastoids already put in very quickly. You already saw me do this for the trapezius muscle. I can go ahead and also add in the delts I'm just going to do one side. I can add in the pec. And now that the pec is in, I can also quickly add in a bicep, tricep in the back. And again, I'm just roughing this in. Bicep's going to go towards where the thumb is. Let's say the thumb is here. So now I can just quickly add in elbow, points towards that, a little bit here. So this is sloppy, but you get the point. Like, you can start to quickly add in different shapes and stuff, and eventually you'll get to something of an arm that looks more like this. This is also sloppy, but get the picture. So you get a more decent looking arm that's just based off of the mannequin that you drew. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. I know that was a long-winded answer. We're 30 minutes in and we've only gotten through a little bit of the gestures, but that's okay. Hopefully that was helpful for you. So that's like your starting point. And again, that's a lot, but that takes time. I would say you practice your mannequin just from the front view and maybe like a 3/4 view and side view. Practice that for like, a couple of times a week while doing other things that you enjoy with your art. And after a while, it'll start to stick. And then when, as you do gestures and stuff, you would go from the 30-second gestures that I just showed you to doing maybe a minute gestures and then maybe a minute and a half gestures, and you're just adding more information on as you go. And eventually you'll get to volumetric like gesture drawing. All right, this is not the funnest of gestures to do, but the good news is now I feel kind of warmed up after that. So maybe they will go better. So for instance, like what I was talking about with why it's so important to come up with a mannequin, this gesture is a perfect example of that because it is very, very foreshortened. Good, I'm glad. So when you have a lot of foreshortening like this, now you want to draw through all of your stuff so that you can get decent foreshortening in that isn't going to look stilted. Another thing that I would really recommend that you do is as you are getting better at your gestures, you'll want to start to research anatomy because that's only going to help your gestures and identifying like certain landmarks and things like that. And identifying landmarks is very, very difficult sometimes because not every person's body is necessarily it's easy to find landmarks if people have a little bit of extra fat deposits or a ton of muscle, for instance, becomes more difficult. But the better you are at identifying anatomy, the better you will be. That one came out pretty good. The better you will be at finding those landmarks. Things like the clavicles, the hips, the sternum. clavicles are actually very, very important, which is why I do recommend to people that you draw it. Sometimes I skip that step, which I shouldn't, but they are very helpful. And then also, when you're doing your volumetric drawing, you want to pay attention to where your cylinders are going towards. Like, I don't always complete my cylinders, which again, I probably should, but I am always thinking about where they are, like which end is open towards us and which end it isn't, because that will help you in the long run. Oh no, ran out of time. Probably should have given myself a bit more time for these today since it's been a while. I am just gonna quickly sketch in some hands. I think it's been over a week that I've actually done any gestures at all, which is just wild to think about. Don't know when the last time was that I went a week without doing gestures. Probably about a year ago, 2 years ago. Been trying to concentrate on doing more like productive stuff and not just practice, which is why I have been slacking in my gesture drawing. But that's fine, because I have been more productive and I'm happy about that. The gestures will come back. And as you go, that's why I said don't worry too much about proportions to begin with. You'll start to notice when some things are off proportionally, just because you're looking at so many different references. It'll start to become like second nature for you. I feel like I kind of cheated because like I kind of know which gestures are coming next since we saw them from earlier, and did like a very rough version of them. Things to really pay attention to as well when you're doing your gestures are like um, just the relationships that things have with one another. Meaning like where is like one elbow in comparison to another. And I can show you an example of that in just a second. So like this elbow is around here on the head, maybe a little bit further out, but this one, because this shoulder is higher, so you have this shelf, it's going to also be higher, so this elbow is going to be about right there, right? Just things like that. Another landmark to think about is the I think is this called the coccyx? This is the tailbone region. Um, your tailbone kind of like points right to the, I don't know what to call this without getting demonetized. Uh, where your glutes meet. Um, and it's a very, very useful landmark. I think I made her body a bit too thin. That's all right. All right, this is the last set of 5, and then we'll do some story time. Another thing that I would highly recommend too is something that I've been doing a bad job of for today, and typically I feel like I don't, which is making sure you're taking a decent amount of time to really observe what you're looking at. And I know that's, again, it sounds silly, but you don't want to draw what you think you're seeing. You want to draw what you are seeing. And when you don't spend enough time looking and actually observing the piece that you're looking at or the pose that you're looking at, then you're not observing and drawing, you're just drawing what you think. So make sure that you take the time that you need to actually properly observe your drawing. Also, another thing is I don't really recommend doing um, drawings of other drawings unless it's somebody that you know for a fact is a professional, and or the gesture that you're looking at or the drawing that you're looking at is from like a production of some sort. Because if it's from a production, then odds are a lot of professionals have looked it over and approved it. And what I mean odds are, I mean it's 100% what has happened. So that's one thing that I would say that I want to make very, very clear. And these are directly from somebody that I know was a professional for years and years, which is Mark Brunet. So I have no issues using this as a reference. And you can also use these as references if you would like. I believe I have it in the description and a link below, but if I don't, if you go on Cube Brush, he has these references available for people for free, which is very generous. That ribcage is very tiny. It's a bit better, I think. Might be a little too wide now, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy with this one, except for the pelvic region, which I typically struggle with. It's something I do need to study, but I would say this is probably... Hey, got another sub, I think? Welcome. But pretty happy with that one. I think the head's just slightly big, so I'm going to change that before we move to the next one. That feels a little bit better. Maybe too small, actually. We'll keep it there. We'll keep it there for now. But yeah, that one felt good. Something that you also want to find as you're drawing are like the midpoints between the major land masses or major landmark masses. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. But you want to make sure that you are correctly identifying where the middle of your volumes are as you're drawing them. That way you're separating things in space correctly. I believe this is the last one. Put this right here, I guess. A little bit zoomed in. Peter, I think you tried to post the images on there, but I don't think that the link went through. But I appreciate you doing that. Hilda, I'm doing well. How are you? And welcome. I don't know if I've seen you on a stream before, so welcome. Appreciate you joining. I'm happy with how it ended. Some of these, like this one's rough, that one's good, this one's good, this one's good, this one's kind of rough, this one's good, this one's good, that one's pretty good, that one felt good, that one doesn't look horrible. It's supposed to be the shorter version, but the first result is still the page with files. Okay. I don't know if anybody else, like, I can't see like on the stream, like on like the thread. I can't really see any of the stuff that you post. I just see practice images and then like the colon, and that's it. Let's see here. Sorry, y'all can't really see that. This one is okay. This one's not great. This one's okay. This one's not great. The first one wasn't too bad. So, pretty okay. Pretty okay. Not horrible. So, I will do a quick story time, and then I'm going to get to work. So give me 1 second and I'll plop that away. I wonder if I can just quickly make my head bigger. I can't. Hey Andrew, how's it going? So we'll do this for a second, just so you can actually see me as I'm talking to you. And give me 1 second, I want to read this. Doing great. Incidentally, I'm actually doing a line weight practice referencing Mark Bernet as well, if that was the reference that you're studying. His way of doing the anatomy is quite alluring to me. Yes, that is Mark Bernet's work. And that is really strange. That's a huge coincidence. But yes, I agree with you. His anatomy is really, really well done. He has a great way of simplifying things, and it looks really great when he draws it. So I agree 100%. That's why I like to use his stuff as a reference when I'm doing my gestures. Andrew, I don't know if I just said hi. I don't know if I actually said anything, like, answer your question. I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I got back just this weekend. went to Katsucon for my birthday and had a great time with my family. So, story time. All right. So, yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about Katsucon. Yeah, I am one of his students. I'm surprised. A lot of my viewers, I think, come onto here because of my reviews of his art school. Um, so yeah, I am one of his students. I'm trying to see if I can finish the program and like submit my stuff to get the certification this summer, or maybe around like, I don't know, like November or so, like this summer or fall, to get my certification. And I did his feedback program as well, right before it closed down. So I really like Mark a lot. I think he was a phenomenal teacher, and he just seems like a really great dude. So I'm full support of him. I am gonna come out with a video after I've graduated with a full review of the whole process. Also talking about some of the things that I personally would have liked to see more of in his content and things like that. And Canton, thank you very much for wishing me a happy birthday. I appreciate it. It was my 30th birthday, so it was a big one for me. Don't feel 30, but also look 30 because I don't have any hair anymore. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Katsucon. This is my third year going. One of the things I really want to do there is table in the artist valley or alley section. I'm excited to do that at some point before I stop going, before I'm not really able to go. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to quickly talk about that experience and some of the stuff that I got, and I probably should have brought it in here. I met a couple of artists, which was awesome. So yeah, let's get started with that. So the first thing is we brought my friend Marty, my brother and I did. He's actually like, I don't know how to, he's like my big brother. Him and my brother like were best friends growing up. Marty lived with us for a short amount of time. Yes, just like Saitama. And he hadn't gone to Katsucon or any kind of Comic-Con yet, so we decided to bring him along. My brother and I went together last year. That was my brother's first time going. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So basically our game plan was we're going to go to the convention, walk around, see all the cosplay, talk with people, and then at nighttime we played video games, which was phenomenal. But yeah, so the first day we walked around, saw a ton of really cool cosplay. The cosplayers that go to Katsu are just incredible. I mean, I'm sure they're incredible kind of wherever they go. But it was really funny seeing, like, in particular Marty, because he's just now getting into anime, so he had no idea who anybody, like, was cosplaying as. So I was, like, pointing people out to them and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun for me, at least. And he also, I felt bad for him. He bought a bunch of like Baki merch because that's the one that he has watched a lot of, and it didn't come in on time. I think it came in like the day after we arrived, so he was a little bit bummed about that. But yeah, I guess the big part of the story that I wanted to talk about, I guess there's two things. So I am really goofy sometimes, and I wish Coop was here to hear this because like I can just not think before I do things. So we ran into a cosplayer, and he was like dressed as Trunks from Dragon Ball, and I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. I'm sure that y'all knew that, just if you've been on the channel before. And so I talked to him. I was just like, "Oh, dude, you look incredible. Like, can I get a picture?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "It's a really solid Trunks cosplay." And then he showed me pictures of, like, he had regular, like, just base Trunks with the purple hair as his cosplay, but he had made a cosplay for Trunks with Super Saiyan hair, and he actually made it so that the hair was glowing, and he was showing me a picture of that. So I took a picture, and he gave me his card, and then he was like, "You travelers look real tired." he wants some sensu beans. And he like pulled it out, and I was like, well, what kind of bean is this? And he was like, oh, it's just sugar. And without thinking twice, I just took one and just plopped it in my mouth. Like, this could have been anything, right? Like, it could have been anything. Luckily it was just candy, but like, I haven't even told my wife this story yet. I'm pretty sure she'd be like, what the heck? But yeah, it was just like one of those moments. I'm looking back, I'm like, why am I so like, that's literally something people tell you as a child, like, don't take candy from strangers, and that's literally what I did. I took candy from a stranger, but luckily it was perfectly fine. It was in like one of those plastic bags that you get that like it had like the wrapper as if it was manufactured, so I did like peep that a little bit. But me and my friend Marty just plopped it right in our mouths, and my brother was like, what are you two doing? Like, you just eating candy from some guy you don't know? So that was pretty funny. But then the other part of the story that I wanted to talk about is I met an artist, and I bought some of her art too, but her art is incredible. I think that she goes by the name, let's see here, see if I can log on to Instagram really quick. I think it's Muddy Melly. Let me look up. Yes, it was. Yep. And there was no big, yep, Muddy Melly. I'm gonna put her Insta in the chat. I highly recommend that you follow her, and I'm gonna tell you why. So, one, her art is really, really gorgeous. She has phenomenal usage of colors, and it really is, like, her art really is just really, really gorgeous and jaw-dropping. But the cool thing about her was, and really what made me want to buy stuff from her, she is probably the nicest human being I have. Yes, they are. Her colors are so beautiful. I literally wanted to buy her art for two reasons. One, I'm getting ready to tell you, but two, because I want to study how she does her colors, because it's incredible. I will say some of these, if I had to give her any form of a critique whatsoever, which is unfair for me to do because her art is leagues above my own, I will say some of her colors distract from what she probably wants her focal point to be, and it makes it hard to find her focal point, just in some of her art. But again, absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous art, and she's super talented. But one of the big reasons as to why I wanted to buy her art, though, was because she's probably the nicest human being I have ever met in person. Like, yes, I would agree with that. It is, her art is phenomenal. And again, my critique is just me being, like, super picky. Like, but like some of, like, for instance, like if you look at the one that is I can't remember this one chick's name. Sue, and I can't remember the other one's name from My Hero. But this particular one I think is the one that I was looking at, that Sue's, like, legs and stuff, because of the colors and how vibrant they are, her legs get kind of, like, lost. Like, you can't really, like, if you look at it as a thumbnail, the legs do get a little bit lost. That's my, again, and that's me being very, very nitpicky, because obviously her art is extraordinary, right? And that's not the case for all of these. It's just some of them have, like, a similar kind of thing going on. But yeah, she's probably, like, she was so nice, like, the whole time, just thanking everybody who was coming to her table. Just some of it. Again, like, I'm being really picky, and I feel kind of mean for even saying that, because again, like, her art is leagues above what I could do, but I guess critique is a form of like love and care. Like, and again, hopefully, if she's never gonna see this, I don't know if she doesn't even have a YouTube, I don't think. Um, but yeah, but yeah, she's literally like, she was so nice the whole time. Like, took the time to talk with me. Like, I kind of told her like my art journey and stuff like that. I took her card. I'm gonna actually do studies of her art, and I want to do like an art like this that's Beast Gohan, because I really love Beast Gohan. Like, just because I'm a huge. The movie wasn't like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like the Dragon Ball superhero movie was the best movie ever, because it wasn't. It's just a. It was literally just a like fan service to people who enjoy like love Gohan, and I am one of those people. Gohan was my favorite character growing up, and I hate that they like what they have done to his character up until the superhero movie. Um, but I do want to do like literally this kind of style, obviously with my own gesture work and stuff like that, but with these kinds of colors, and try to replicate something that she does, but with Beast Gohan. So that'll happen probably in the distant future. Um, but yeah, it was incredible. It was an incredible experience. It was really awesome. Her name is Melissa. So please follow her. I'm gonna actually follow her. But she really is an incredible artist, and even more important, a very very incredible human being. And I guess one thing I can share, and she also like, look at her art. She was selling her art for the cheapest amount at the entire Katsucon, and I think that personally, I would say that there was probably only one or two other artists that were at her level or maybe slightly higher. Um, and that has nothing, like, again, her colors though were above and beyond anybody by are you going to do a style study anytime soon after you graduate from art course? I'll probably do it as like, once I finish up, like I want to do. So I have a character that I've basically finished. I have another character that I want to finish, and then I'm gonna do a creature and a mech. Maybe not in that order. After I've done those two, then I'll do this style study. Um. Anyways, what I was gonna say is I could quickly show you one of the things that I bought. Give me 1 second. So again, really, really love Dragon Ball and really love Beast Gohan, so I was able to pick this guy up. This is one of my favorite Katsucon purchases that I've had so far. Um, but yeah, really, really, really cool and detailed. Anatomy is really spot on with this one. You can see like the etchings from when they were carving it and stuff. Really cool. So I'll put that back. Oh, and I guess what I was saying before I got a little distracted. Um, I I did do. Sorry, I bought her art, and again, there's probably one or two people in the entire, like, both the what is that other section called? It's Artist Alley, and then there's like the other section that's just like a flea market of like random stuff. Merchant Alley. There we go. Um, and there's some artists that sit in Merchant Alley too. There's probably maybe two artists that are at her level or maybe slightly above, like depending on what you like as a person. I thought that she was the best personally, and hers was the cheapest. She was selling two big prints. Like, maybe next stream I'll pull the prints out of these that you see on her Instagram. They're like $15 each, and then after you do two, uh after you get two, you get a third one free. So you're getting three for $10. I'm like, what? Um, but yeah, she was again one of the nicest people I ever met. Please follow her if you have an Instagram. Um, and yeah, at some point I will do a style study, or maybe not the style itself, but just the color study. Her colors just so good. I mean, she was also super humble. Like, I was trying to compliment her on her colors, and she was like, I was like, yeah, like, I struggle with colors. Yeah, I know, right? Like, she could easily have been if she would have said $30, I still would have bought one, right? Um, it's crazy, but like, it goes to show you, like, people overprice the crap out of their stuff. Like, a lot of people were selling prints for like 25, and then if you bought two, you could do 40, which is still good. But like, she could have easily been selling each piece for like $30, and I still would have bought at least one. But it goes to show you, like, it doesn't cost that much to do these prints. They're very tiny. They're not tiny, but they're very easy to just, after you've created it, you just print it off, right? Like, you find somebody that does professional prints, you do 20 of them, and it probably costs like $40 to do 20 of the prints, and you're selling each one for $50 or whatever. Somebody was selling each print that they had for like $65. I was like, this is way too much money. Definitely not getting that. But yeah, yeah. So that's kind of my story time. I'll think of other stories too as I go. I have one, like, it'll probably be a stream that's a little bit like, I'll probably have to like restrict it in some way, like maybe not monetize it. But I'll have to talk about my first experience going to Katsucon, and it'll be like, this is definitely an adult stream. Like, please don't come if you're not comfortable with inappropriate topics. But yeah, lots of fun when I go to Katsu. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna get started on, well, I guess I'm gonna try to finish up some more of my own work. But I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Always pleasure having the streams. I'll definitely be able to get a stream in this weekend, probably on Sunday. My wife's away from town this weekend, so I'll be able to get that done. And yeah, I hope you have a great week, and I will catch you on the next live stream. Thank you all, and yeah, love you all. Have a good week. Oh, thanks for the hearts.